So good afternoon and welcome to today's session. So from, I guess, 2020, when the pandemic really hit us, we all realized the value of working virtually, remotely, and shopping remotely. And as a result, we recognize the value of digital shopping, digital payments, the ability to make and receive money digitally. If you were in the room from the previous panel, you heard people talk about how you're going to access a market of 1.2 billion people across Africa, selling your goods to them. Well, you can only sell to them if you receive money from them. And I know that nobody's posting money to you. So having digital payments infrastructure is even more important with the Africa Free Trade Continental Agreement opportunity. So turning to my panelists who are going to help you think about how you put the infrastructure in your businesses. Okay, so our panelists are going to help you think about that and how you make that core to your companies. And it goes beyond making and receiving money, but I'll let them speak to you about this. So turning to you first, Dan, and Dan is from Paga, and as you answer my question this first time, please give people a very short insight into what Paga does. In your opinion, what is working well and not so well with respect to what we call digital payments infrastructure? And perhaps as you're answering, you can help people understand what that actually means. So over to you, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. So, some context. Paga is a payments company, emerging markets payments company, and we basically help individuals and businesses. What we call it is making life possible. In this case, it's making business possible. It's making payments simple. We enable you make and receive payment collections offline and online. Offline through a variety of agents and merchant networks, and online via multiple apps, right? So to answer the question, what's good and what's not so good? I think one good thing is options. There are many options now, even just in the last 5 years, there are many options for individuals and businesses for collecting payments. And that has heightened the standards because you're not just depending on the banks or a few fintechs. There are many options out there, and people are really trying to raise the bar to compete. So you have options. The one thing that we've seen that is not good, and we get this as feedback from people that are crossing over to join Paga, is the experience. When you do adopt one or many of those options, right, whether it's for your life individually or for a business, we find that people complain about the experience not being right, the payment or product experience not being right. Sometimes it's, I lost my money, I didn't get it back, but sometimes it's the actual usage of the platform or the tools. For many years, that's where we've had an edge, and that's what we focused on, ensuring that we're crafting the products and the services to really deliver the right payment experiences, right? Speaking a bit to the payment infrastructure, I mean, you're right. Nobody here is looking to sell without actually earning, but you're having to sell and collect money now from a variety of people, right? Some local family and friends, some you've never seen and probably will never see. And platforms like Paga enable that, whether it's via your website, whether it's social selling, right? Instagram, WhatsApp, as that has become one of the key ways of getting your products and services out there, right? Paga is one of those tools with a lot of the other fintechs that are helping you have that infrastructure, have that service or tool in your shop or online on your website or as a link from your product page or post, so that when people see and say, I like, they're able to actually complete a purchase. You're able to analyze that they've completed that purchase and actually push out that order to them. So the good thing is options. The not so good thing is the experience, right? Not enough of the fintechs are crafting and building the right experiences. That's one thing we've focused on.
How is Paga making a difference in that respect?
Well, as an example, you walk into a shop, and in fact, not even a shop. Yesterday, there was one of the stalls out there had two POSs. I needed to collect a payment, and none of them worked. And I was there looking at a nice pair of shoes, and I heard, oh, it's not working. Let's try network, right? One of the things that we've done, as opposed to just putting more POSs out there in the system, is say, yes, we will provide POSs to our businesses, to our merchants. But aside from that, there are multiple other payment options that you have. Right now, we have vendors and merchants out there that use one of the Paga services, and they're paying with sound payments, right? Literally between me and you, right? You put in 5,000, or well, things here are quite expensive. You put in 50,000 for a nice pair of shoes, and I receive it. Sound payments is less than a second, and people are wow, how is that happening? So we have sound payments, we have dynamic new band payments, we have USSD payments, we have bank transfers. Multiple options, right? That way, you give one merchant, at any point you want to sell, you have 7 to 8 options of collecting that payment. It's very unlikely then that you will have a payment fail or not be able to collect the payment. That's one of the things we're doing differently.
Okay. Sounds like you might end up giving your customers more choice than they need. And Ehi, as you're building out the ecosystem of the next generation of fintechs, how are you helping to simplify that experience? And how are you helping to address the gaps that Dan has mentioned?
Thank you. And excuse me. Thanks to the organizers for putting this together. I think it's been an amazing panel so far. Before I get to my point, I have one little issue I wanted to address. So when I had Lagos Leather Fair, I thought one of the things that would happen would be possibly a nice bowl of some leather-based delicacies known to Nigeria, otherwise known as pomo, sitting somewhere about. Given that in East Africa, none of the hides are eaten there. And in West Africa, it's a real delicacy. I was actually looking forward to 1 or 2 stands, but
they're hanging on the wall behind
they're hanging
you.
on the wall. Can you imagine? Well, so some background. We run a company called Brij, which is based out of Nairobi, but works right across Africa. And what we do is our mission is to enable frictionless trade across Africa. Now, Africans, we all have the same problems. None of us have dollars. So it's very interesting on the previous panel listening to someone saying he wants to receive money in dollars. Well, the people in Ghana don't have dollars to give you. We don't use dollars in Ghana. We don't use dollars in Kenya. We don't use dollars in South Africa. So who is going to produce the dollars to come give you to settle? It doesn't exist. There's got to be a much better mechanism for trade across Africa. And as we think through the ecosystem, what we've done is build out the infrastructure which allows real-time settlement across the continent and allow people to do collections in local currencies and have mechanisms for remitting that back to them in Africa. So I think there are multiple angles to this. The payment experience, someone is playing really loud, very nice Nigerian music. Paying with sound, brilliant.
You might end up paying too much.
Yeah, but there we go. So payment experience. Now, I've had vendors tell me that they have challenges with cards. And one of the problems they have is that the more successful they are, the more problems they have, because there is a lead time between when they process the money and they actually receive the cash. So if you're processing 10,000 bags, you're going to have a huge cash liability, even though you technically have money. And that increases the cost. So it's great as we think through these options. Real time becomes a key differentiator in your success, and especially for small businesses. So if I put my business online, I want to be sure I've received the money before I release the items, or vice versa. So the second, I think, one of the major issues with the industry, obviously, is with how long it takes to settle a transaction beyond the payment experience, and what that means for the delivery of goods and services across the border. So I think it's an exciting time because new markets are opening. Anybody can get on Instagram today or on WhatsApp and literally broadcast their product to the entire world. Somebody will find it interesting, but then how to do that settlement and how to make sure it comes in time for you to be able to fulfill that order still remains a gap in the industry.
Hey, I want to stay with you for a moment. How many people understand frictionless payment in the audience? Do you know what that means? Hands up if you do. Okay, so I want you to break it down. And the way I want you to break it down, because you said two things. You said frictionless payments, and then you said somebody in Ghana wants to buy your goods, or you want to buy something from Ghana. You're going to pay Naira here, and they're going to receive CDs there. How do I set up my business today to make that happen? And that is what is frictionless. The fact that I just pay as though I'm paying for Domino's pizza, but somebody in Ghana is able to receive that money as though they just sold something to Domino's Pizza in Ghana. So there's nothing that's stopping that money going back and forth. But what do people here need to do in their businesses to have that happen?
Okay, so excellent question. But as a proper African, you answer every question with a question. So look, today we have approximately 1 million shoes produced every day out of Aba. It's a $371 million industry. And these amazing young men and women take their goods from Aba, sometimes through Cameroon, or sometimes through Benin. To get the products out is one thing. When they get where they are, they will receive money in local currency. So they'll take the money in SEFA or XOF or any of the other currencies, CDs, whatever. They will have to buy dollars because those currencies are not used in Nigeria. They will take that dollars, bring it across the border, or try and transfer it, and then bring it back. And so that's a typical journey. Now, there are people who say, you know what, we want to come to Nigeria, buy the items and take them out and go and do our own distribution. And they have a similar problem because then they first have to buy dollars, cross borders, come back and settle it. So like you said, that's the friction. That's the asymmetry in the market. It's very difficult to cross those barriers. So what we've done as a business is work with central banks across the continent and put in place a settlement infrastructure which makes that possible, complementary and supportive to what PAPS has done, but using a slightly different set of technologies. And so it is possible today to set up a business in Nigeria, sell to somebody in Kenya, receive payments for your goods, and get the money back in Naira across borders. So what you need to do, you need to set up an online store and probably onboard through one of our partners. In Nigeria, we work with several banks in Nigeria, and I'm sure they will begin to put out their communication on how businesses can work with them.
Thank you. And you started to touch upon the Pan-African opportunity that I've been speaking about. But before we do that, and I come to you, Demola, I want to go back to you, Dan, because he said you set up an online store. And you said earlier that you're helping businesses to have that payment engine, should we call it. Please tell people how they can, once they set up this store, what next?
So To set up the store, as I said, there's many options, right? I will be biased, obviously, and speak to the options that we provide. Right now, some of my colleagues are out there, and the brand is called Doroki, right? Doroki. And some of the merchants are already selling and receiving payments with Doroki. To set up, you're basically going online, signing the form, and setting up. And then there'll be a quick KYC process, right? Because as a seller or as a buyer,
KYC?
know your customer, right? So it's basically critical for regulatory purposes, but also just to keep you, merchants, safe, right? To keep you safe, to keep also the buyers safe. Once you set up your account, you're then able to collect payments with all the different ways I was talking about. You're able to collect payments in your store, in your booth, or online. In addition to being able to collect payments, you're able to do your inventory. We're able to help with some of your social selling, WhatsApp, Instagram selling, right? When you get on, you'll see all the features, and it's well laid out for you. Now, that is the way that you're basically setting up. What we have now as an example is, and this launched in, Doroki launched in November, right? We partnered with Visa, and so we're enabling a lot of businesses like you who set up, right? Access to discounts and low rates on certain different services. But once you set up online, you can then, if you decide to open up a store at some point, you can then onboard and also collect payments in your store. Or if you set up in your store first, you can then onboard and begin to collect payments also online, right? But really going to doroki.com as an example, or going out to the booth, there's one of the booths with the Doroki t-shirt, people there, or finding the right, safe, secure, and simple payment gateway you're able to set up and begin collecting payments for your business. That's how you set up the payment infrastructure for collecting payments online.
Thank you. And so coming back to the Pan-African opportunity, in the previous panel, they spoke about Africa free trade. Everybody's saying 1.2 billion, SystemSpecs, Demola. How are you helping people to seize on that opportunity to be able to do what we're talking about here, where I can make my things in Aba, stay in Aba, and have my products walk in the streets of New York, Cape Town, Dakar? Okay, what are you doing? How are you going to make it possible for these entrepreneurs to have access to markets across Africa?
Okay, thanks, Tokunboh. So I work with SystemSpecs. SystemSpecs, we own the Remita platform, so it's been around for about 13 to 15 years, thereabout. So Remita, just like Paga, is used for payments and collections for businesses. For the African market, one thing that has happened over the last few years is the recognition of the problem and to solve it in the African way for Africans. He mentioned what's happening with Brij and how they've done that. So for payment gateways or even for businesses, the first thing is to be online, to get a payment gateway that allows you to transfer internationally. It is getting easier, and it will get easier over the next few months, because alongside Brij, there's also the PAPs that Ehi also mentioned also, which payment gateways and banks are also connecting to. So practically, over the next few months, you will see more banks and more payment gateways allowing you the option to transfer and to pay seamlessly in that way. And they can write, so they will have done the work of calculating the exchange rate between Naira and CDs, Naira and Kenyan shillings for you. They will sort out, like Ehi's people do. You don't have to worry about dollars. They sort it out. So we as a payment gateway, what we are doing is to provide those options, riding on the infrastructure. In business these days, you have to cooperate, you have to collaborate. We have been lucky to do well what we've done in Nigeria, and it's a lot to carry. So when we see partners who are doing things abroad, we ride on them. But we'll give you the front end. I know for the PAPS one, for example, there are about 8 banks that will come on stream in the next 2 or 3 months. So some of those banks will also partner with Bridge. So it's going to get better. Now, let me say one thing. Nigeria has one of the most advanced payment systems in the entire world. What other countries are still celebrating, we've done it 10 years ago, 5 years ago. That is why you see the big unicorns in Nigeria, the companies who are now worth $1 billion. So we need to understand that Nigeria offers one of the best payment systems in the world. Now, when Tokunboh was asking how many of you are online, you need to be online or, really to take advantage of payment gateways. So in terms of what is happening now in the African trade, the whole idea is that from your bank or your payment gateway, you will see who you want to send money to. Currently now, you go and send money, you put your GT bank, your whatever it is, and the money goes. The same thing will apply to intra. So on our side, we are riding on the, let me call it the intra-African payment systems to augment what we are giving to people locally. So you don't need to worry about what's happening between Naira and cedis. You just log into Remita or any of the payment gateways, you will see transfer or do whatever. Of course, they will calculate the rate for you. They will give you the fee. You would debit your current or savings accounts locally. The money is settled for you. So that is so it's about ease. It's about access. And what the industry is doing is to try and make it possible to make that payment with card, with USSD, just like Daniel said. So the infrastructure is there. You just need to pick one and ride on it. So it's not, part of what you will see coming out again is, so we saw this issue of lack of enough online presence for SMEs. So about a year or so ago, we launched something called paylink.ng, which is meant to allow you to put your stuff, put your stock, put your inventory, and access the payment gateway. So you will see a lot of payment gateways bringing things, not just a payment gateway, but additions to make life easy for SMEs. But as SMEs, you need to plug in to electronic payment systems. It is difficult for you to scale if you don't. Whatever you use, Paga or Remita, it is not possible for you to scale. We met a young man myself, just there. He came to us and said he's selling leather jackets. And we were talking, he said, okay, we'll come to your booth. He said, it doesn't have a booth. No problem. Do you have a card? No. Do you have a website? No. He now said, do you have an Instagram account? He said, yes. He said, what's your handle? That Instagram account that he has can be his own access to the entire world. So without having access to those things, you cannot scale. So I just wanted to put it there. So we are here to tell you that, look, whatever you need to do to access an easy, friendly system that is well supported, look out for the players. They are all regulated by central bank, so your money is safe. That is, in fact, Nigeria is one of the most regulated. You just get a circular from central bank, you have to comply within 7 days or else. So you don't have to worry about it. I just want to put that your business can grow locally and internationally by going on the payment gateway. Thank you.
Thank you. Am I the only one that every time they say payment gateway, I'm thinking of my gate man? Like, who is making all of this secure? Who is keeping out the customer? What are the challenges? Because when I asked the question earlier that how many of you have a digital presence to receive payments, only one person in the room raised their hand. So coming back to you, Ehi, if in this room only one person raised their hands, and that probably means they're only selling locally, now we're talking about the Pan-African opportunity. What are the hurdles that you're seeing that are preventing our entrepreneurs from putting these payment gateways and gate men in place, or women in place? What is stopping them? And what advice do you have for them to overcome those hurdles?
Thank you. Another excellent question. And like I said, like a good African, I'll start with a story. So I think that there are several use cases, and it's important not to put all of them in one basket. The first use case is for what you call sort of a roaming use case. And these are the established trade routes which exist today. So brothers from the east and the north travel, they take the things. About 70% of all the hair used in Africa comes out of Nigeria. Okay, so lots of the women in Africa will have a serious problem if there was a problem with these people who bring in the hair and take it out in shiploads. The eyebrows, okay, the eyelashes, sorry, the shoes, Gucci, Guccio, and all their cousins, which are produced out of Nigeria, get shipped across the continent. Actually, Nigeria represents almost 50% of intra-Africa trade. So an important trade destination. And the question is, when these people go out, the first problem they need to solve in their digitization journey is called proximity payments. So these kinds of transactions are real time. They need to approach the buyer, or they need to receive the payment instantly, be sure they have the money before they release the goods. They're not doing transfer, there's no shopping involved. It's very much a proximity payment, something that happens on a...
What does proximity
Proximity
mean?
means I'm near to you, I'm close to you, I'm right by you, face to face. We're standing next to each other. So when I'm in the shop, it's not even an internet transaction. I've seen you on Instagram. It's that the guy has brought his goods in a bag, as a Ghana must go bag, as they call it, and they bring it there, and he says, give me the cash and take the items. And at that point, a transaction needs to happen. Now, what's gone on in the rest of Africa is that you've got mobile money. So in Kenya, in Ghana, in many parts of Africa today, lots of that payment is fully digitized. So, and it doesn't matter for what, whether you're paying for a taxi or you're buying suya on the street, it's always from your phone, send the money, and that's how it happens. So our traders get there and they don't have the ability to transact. And for me, that's the first problem. How do we make sure that when someone puts Naira in their bank account and they travel to Makola market in Accra, or the market in Nairobi, they can actually transact and receive the money there. So that's one problem. That is not in the same scope as the person who is selling Femi handbags in Lagos, who I mean, lovely, seen it on Instagram, absolutely amazing, and I want to buy and purchase. So I think that those two use cases have to be separated and they need to be dealt with differently. For the person who is going online and trying to trade across Africa, I think the most important element is actually trust. So it's the trust infrastructure which is broken. Because in this day and age, people put up fake Instagram handles, they buy Instagram followers, and you're never sure who you're dealing with. I once saw someone who was selling travel luggage, really nice, out of Nigeria, and he represented himself as a lady, and so I was trying to buy this bag, and I saw very nice. How much is it? Gave me a price. Wanted to transact, and then suddenly so the person said, "Okay." I said, "Can I call?" Yes. Picked up the phone, and it was a guy trying to sound like a woman. So all my flags were going up. I said, "There's something wrong about this transaction." Um, Eventually, the deal didn't happen. But trust I think, is the single biggest problem next to the collections. And the systems that we're building, the infrastructure we're building needs to address the trust. So how does a small, medium business put themselves in a position of trust online where people can buy from them knowing that if something is wrong or if there is a problem, then there is some recourse. And I think that's the first thing that small, medium businesses who are looking to expand into Africa and think about the amazing opportunity need to consider.
Thank you. So my analogy with gate man is not far out of place,
No,
because who do you trust to let through into your money holding?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we borrow that trust, which is the second part, is that we borrow that trust from the institutions we trust today.
Exactly.
So we borrow that trust from either our bank, or we borrow that trust from our telco, our mobile network, or there's somebody who stands in the gap and says, this person is trustworthy, etc. And that's why the kinds of transactions which happen on the Bridge platform always use your banking provider or your payment gateway provider or your telco as a trust indicator. And that's an important security element which makes the transactions happen.
Thank you. So I'm going to come back to you now, Dan, and talking about trust. Trusting, first of all, the SMEs trusting that you guys can give them what they need. No doubt this costs money. Can I afford it? If I'm a small business, can I afford it? Can I afford not to have what you are offering? How does the solution that each of you is offering, how does that help me control my costs to be able to grow in the manner that I need to? Because at the end of the day, yes, I want to collect money, but I don't want to pay 10 times to get 1/10 of the money I'm paying out. So how can I afford this, and can I afford not to have this? Dan?
No, you can't. If you're really not just running your business, if you're looking to grow your business, you can't afford not to have infrastructure for collecting payments offline and online. You cannot. The digital tools and services are growing rapidly, and they've grown over the last 10 years. As a business, we've seen that, right? And we've been part of the parties contributing to that growth. But the reality is there's still a significant ground game. And what I mean is there are a lot of people around you that need to trust you and be able to do business with you and be able to buy what you have to sell, right? And they play a massive part in building that trust for you and telling other people, especially now where people are quickly sharing their experiences of every sale on social media, right? So don't underestimate the value of the people around you, the proximity payments, right? Don't underestimate that value. Ensure that the infrastructure is there to collect the payments offline. Online, you also have to do that, because in some cases, people hear about you and want to make a purchase, but they don't have the proximity, they're not in the right proximity to you. But they should still be able to make that purchase, right? Especially if you have the logistics to deliver what it is that they're buying. You can't afford to do that if you want to grow the business. I'm a growth strategist, so I'm constantly thinking about growth, right? I'm constantly thinking about growth for our business, but also growth for the merchants that come on to our business. I was just checking some of the numbers on my phone, right? And we're seeing double-digit percentage growth for the merchants that come on to the Doroki platform. This does not mean that there's no cost to using the platform. No, there are costs to using the platform. But one, there's a freemium model, so there's an aspect of it that is free and gives you certain features and tools. And then there are other services that are paid for. But what we've done, the way we've done it, and this is what you should look for, whether it's not even with Doroki, which is a Paga service, but ensure you're looking for a platform that is not only enabling you make or collect payments, that's the base, right? That's the table stakes. It needs to be there. But this, whatever platform you're using should be enabling you grow the business. If you're selling 10 shoes every day via social media, that's great. You can reconcile that. But as your business grows, you're selling 20, you're selling 30. While you're in the back making the shoes or checking the quality assurance, or doing the quality assurance, your brother or sister is the one helping to do the transactions. At the end of the day, who has paid, who has not paid? You're not going to grow because at some point you're going to delay a delivery from a customer who is going to tell somebody, you're not going to grow. So look for platforms like Doroki as an example that help also with inventory, that help also managing stock, that help you do everything via a mobile phone on the go. So whether it is that you're on the back of an Okada trying to get to the port to collect your consignment, and you are still able to do some things, right? I mean, that's dangerous, please. Actually, don't do that. But make sure that you're looking for platforms that are responsive. Make sure that you're looking for platforms that are low cost and compare costs, right? As I said, we have a freemium version and then we have some paid versions, right? Or some paid services. Compare the costs. But the reality is this: it will cost you more to not grow the service. It will cost you more to fix a bad experience or a negative experience. It will cost you more to not have a platform that is checking KYC and helping with fraud and security. It will cost you more in the long run. Because the flip side of it is, if you're online and nobody trusts you because the platform that you're using to collect your payments is not trustworthy, that will cost you. You'll be there, you say, I'm using this platform, but nobody is buying. Because people are constantly comparing and trying to validate who should I pay through, right? So key brands, right? Trust. Key points. You have to trust the brand, you have to trust the platform, you have to ensure that it's at the right cost, it's responsive enough for you to use on the go, right? And it's offering you services beyond just collecting and receiving payments. It's offering you services that are helping you actually analyze the growth of your business, including things like inventory, stock, social selling, right? Those are key things that you need to look into.
Thank you. And you thought this was just about payments. You see, payments is the entry and exit from your business. But what's going on inside your business is driven by that entry and exit. And so you need the data to help you understand what's going on in your business. So if you're just collecting cash, for example, in these proximate payments, and that money doesn't make its way into your books or into your bank account, you don't have the data to understand. And when you're just collecting cash as well, you don't understand the nature of that sale, what kind of person bought that sale. But just by having that payments infrastructure, you can understand your business better. So it's really important. And even as you scale, like Ehi said, these are important things. Because if you travel from here to Accra to buy something, gone are the days when you go with cash in Ghana must go bags to make that, right? When you get there, you want to be able to make payment because it's secure, etc. You want to be able to do that digitally. But you also want the person on the other side to trust you. If you're turning up with cash in a bag, that's no longer such a good thing. It's like, where is this person bringing this cash from? Who are they? How can we trace them? So these things are important. So turning back to you, Demola, what advice do you have for these businesses? Because you've seen a lot of them as they've tried to make payments and grow locally, but also then bridge out into other regions. What advice do you have as they consider what we've been speaking about today?
Okay, thank you. I think I'm going to go back to your first question, which is when you asked who has not done this. And like it's been said, you cannot grow your business without going digital, no more. I mean, we all saw what happened in 2020, 2021, where we were all forced, even we didn't like it, we never did it, we had no choice. You couldn't leave your house, you had to buy online. So some businesses made their biggest leap in that time. So you need to be ready for those kind of things. So you need to go digital. That's the first thing. The advice again there is, what is, in terms of business growth, what I mentioned that payment gateways are looking to bring just, beyond making payments and receiving them. Dan mentioned inventory, on one of the platforms. So part of what we also do is we extend what you do on our platform on Remita to lending. How does that work? Because Tokunboh, you mentioned data, you mentioned all of that. If somebody wants to give you a loan and you need to apply, you need to fill a form, one of the reasons why small businesses don't get loans is the bank manager cannot see, because everything you did, you were carrying the money in Ghana must go. He has no record of it. He can't tell his boss, Oga, I see this man, he carries the Ghana must go. The manager will say, no, I need it in black and white. A payment gateway tracks every transaction. So your income and your expenditure. If you have a payment gateway, some payment gateway will send that data. Some of you have applied for visas on some bank platforms, and they will send your statement to the embassy. Payment gateways can help you do that, and they send it to the finance company. So on Remita, for example, if you do a loan, they will use the history of what you've made and what you've paid, and they will tell you which banks will give you loans for it. Because if you grow, we grow. So some of them will help you to get finance. So you need to go online. You need to choose payment gateways that will give you and add more. Truth of matter is that the security and all that is something which is regulated and controlled, and we are getting better and smarter every day as an industry. So get online, look for other things. I mean, another thing that we do, which is part of growth and managing, inventory, managing that, is we also bundle things like payroll software for them. The reason is a small businessman, Dan said you are going to collect something, you need to be doing it quickly. We need to think and give you things that you can do very quickly. So people are bundling inventory, payroll, loans, lending, buy now, pay later into these payment gateways. So look out for those things on the payment gateways. And, what we've seen, the opportunities in Nigeria itself and abroad, we may find that other countries like Kenya also may do better than us under this African trade thing because they are seeing bigger things. We need to see that, and Ehi was mentioning that 50% of what happens in Africa is controlled by Nigeria. We make it and we control it, but we are not present in the international trade in Nigeria. You guys need to see that. I was out there, I saw some bags being commoditized in dollar. I wasn't happy about that because you can't price it in dollar. Number one, it's illegal to do it in Nigeria. Number two, I'm having to crack my brain and multiply by, is it 605 or 620 or whatever it is? It's not going to fly. But we have what it takes. There are quality things out there that you can sell in London, in Paris, in anywhere. They are good stuff. But for people to buy you, they must trust you as well. And the best way these days, they will first check you out online. That's the first thing they do. So you must get online. Your Instagram has to make money for you. Because if you're in Paris, like you said, somebody sent you something, I'm going to check you out first. Do you have a website? Do you have an Instagram? Do you have this? So those are the things that you need to look at. Don't just be making the fantastic shoes and leather bags. Think of the business side. That's my plain advice. We have the quality, we have the product, we have everything we need, but you need to think of the business. See your business in 3, 4, 5 years. You can sell anywhere in the world. We have the quality. I've seen it there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Did you want to say something?
Well, I think just really to congratulate and amazing innovators out of Nigeria. I mean, I think Nigeria trailblazes in terms of how, and speaking to my colleagues here at SystemSpecs and at Paga, at innovations around supporting the entrepreneurs. So in many parts of the world, I think that what we've seen is that Nigerian innovators really reach out to the entrepreneurs to help bring them closer to the market by providing better tools. And I think it's an amazing opportunity to take advantage of these and leverage these tools to push the African agenda a lot harder. And so just to really appreciate what the work that has gone into some of these really amazing resources to facilitate and support entrepreneurs and SMEs in Nigeria in taking a bigger stage.
Thank you. That's good. Okay, so we've come to the part where you get to ask questions.
So you, sir, you said something about if you sell something from Nigeria to other country, you still have the same amount of money. So I want to ask if
Sorry, I missed that.
you said if you sell something out from your country, maybe like okay, I sold out shoe from Nigeria to other country. You said, I don't know whether you said the value of the money that you sell from the country and to the other country will be of the same rate. I don't know if...
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. What I said, or what you may have heard, is that especially within Africa, because none of us have dollars, when you're doing transactions across borders between, say, Nigeria and Ghana or Nigeria and Kenya, there are systems in place which make it possible for the person who is buying your item to convert that money into your local currency so that you can receive it in Naira,
Okay.
or vice versa.
So it means there are some cases, maybe the rate of the money will change. Will it still be of the same price you want to sell out? I don't know whether you are trying to get what I'm saying.
No, I don't quite understand you.
Maybe I can come in. So first of all, let's say you want to pay a supplier for something. Typically, in Nigeria, you have to run around to find dollars because that person will only receive dollars. Okay? But now, what payment systems are enabling you to do is to just use your Naira, send your Naira, and they will give you the rate at which that will convert for the recipient of the money. So you've paid your money and they will receive their money because the platform has helped you to make that conversion without you going to central bank to bid for dollars. You just pay your Naira. Or maybe you have connections for getting dollars. So you don't need this. Do you have connections? You're a delegate, okay.
No.
Is your question answered? Do you understand now? Yes.
Okay, good afternoon. My question is directed to the man in the middle.
Dan.
Yes. You mentioned a payment platform. I've forgotten the name, but when I came in, I engaged with them. I got talking with them, and I noticed that I saw other brand names being displayed. So I didn't quite understand why a different name was, exhibiting, and a different brand name was being displayed. So I got talking, I asked, and the guy there tried to explain to me how it works. Now, he was trying to say that it's a payment platform. For example, if I want to buy that product, I'll have to go through their app or their platform to buy. So I was asking him, is it like a third-party thing? Maybe the owners of the product is more like a drop ship something.
No.
So, but at the end of the day, well, I asked them, are you people trying to operate like Jumia? Probably because, he just told me, yeah, something like that. That I can also enroll my program. I can also be a part of it, and my products, they can help me sell. As in my product, I can sell from, payment can be made via that platform. So I think the thing, like, I left there.
Yes.
With the notion that, okay, these people are like Jumia.
Okay. Let me help. First, Tayo, can you raise your hand? Tayo Aguirre. So Tayo there leads Doroki, right? That's the platform that I was talking about. So please, if anybody else was sold anything
but
incorrectly,
maybe explain it correctly.
Yes, and I'll explain it. But please, Tayo can help. But here's what it is. The Doroki booth is basically here to onboard anyone who wants
What
to
does
get on.
onboard mean?
Sign you up. To sign you up to give you an account, right? To sign you up to give you an account. The brands you saw in our booth, in the Doroki booth, are some of the businesses that are into leather goods that have been on Doroki. One of the things that we do for our merchants is really help you find the customer, right? Not just help you collect the payments or make the payments. We help with publicity, we help with marketing, we help you find the customer.
Is the marketing free?
Right now it is. Right now it is. So the structure and the packages that we have right now, especially with our partnership with Visa, extends a lot of marketing and discounts on logistics and a few other things. There's a lot of things. If you go to doroki.com, DOROKI.com, right? So the businesses you saw there that were not Doroki are merchants of ours, right? We have over 6,000 merchants currently offline and some online. And so at a fair like this, we got the booth and we said, listen, we have some merchants that are into leather goods. Let's create space for them to actually sell, right? So that's why you saw some brands that were not Doroki, right? In terms of the Jumia thing, no, it's not like Jumia. Sell whatever or whichever way you want to sell. You don't have to create your stock and put it somewhere. No. You're selling online, you're selling offline, you're selling via social media. Doroki basically gives you the platform and the access to collect your payments and to disburse your payments. Right.
Follow-up question?
So I also do not believe that, or to an extent that it's absolutely free, because for you to be in business, there must be something you're gaining to keep you in business. So if you're saying that I come, A come, B come, and you sign us on as merchants, is there, there's this mentality that there's always a hidden charge somewhere.
No.
Is it really, really, really that free? Then again now, because I haven't seen your name before now, I saw it for the first time here.
You mean the Doroki name?
Yes, I haven't seen it before.
Yes.
So now, if I want to become your merchant and I want to sign up with you, what about, there should be some level of documentation. What do you require of me to be able to become your merchant?
Okay, so you probably haven't seen Doroki because we launched in November last year, right, in partnership with Visa. And following the launch, we've grown, it is about 6,000 merchants, right, on the platform. Deliberately, as I said at the start, it's very big for us experience. So we're not about pushing it to a mass audience and not making sure that experience is the best that it can be. So some of what we've been doing is in what we call beta pilot stage phasing, which is basically testing the market, fixing issues. But what we've seen is significant growth with the businesses that are on. So a lot of it is already working. So that may be why you haven't heard of Doroki, right? But check doroki.com. Doroki is a business under the Paga group. I'd like to think, if I've been doing my job well over 10 years, that most of you here know Paga, right? Now, Doroki is a business under the Paga group, right? Paga, as a platform, as an app, is directly for consumers like you, making your bill payments, utilities, disco, energy payments, water, whatever it is, Paga. Doroki is for you guys when you're thinking as businessmen and women, right? Doroki is basically enabling business payments. In terms of costs, it is free to sign up. If anybody has told you otherwise, that is false. It is free to sign up. In fact, right now, when you get onto doroki.com, you'll find that we've got a package there. I think it's about 150,000 for certain select businesses. And that's basically to get them up and get them running. It's under our Business Connect and Grow scheme in partnership with Visa. Now, to sign up is free. There are transaction costs, as with any payment, right? Yeah, there are transaction costs. I don't have every single percentage in mind. We can give you the list. But there are transaction costs, and that's where we earn our money and keep the business going.
Thank you. Ehi, can I bring you in to be a little bit controversial? Why can't I just use Instagram Pay or WhatsApp Pay? Why do I have to use a platform like Doroki?
I think that's an excellent question. So I think there are two reasons why you should use payment gateways. especially
What's
in
a
Nigeria.
payment gateway? Doroki,
Doroki,
SystemSpecs,
SystemSpecs, yes. And we stand behind them and support them and make sure that the infrastructure and settlement works. There are two reasons why you should use a platform like this. So I think earlier in the previous conversation, I heard the lady talk about her experiences with Bank of Industry. It was you, right? Okay, fantastic. And you talked about the sheer number of forms you had to fill. You said you filled about 15 forms, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? So Doroki comes and gives you a simple onboarding experience, no forms to fill, coming there, put in a few details about your business and get started. So you start from there, and then you start trading. And instead of filling 20 forms to describe your business, they can pass on that data to a bank. And the bank could say, you know what, this looks like a really good business, let's give them some credit. And then you grow. So you're not really going to find that with one of the other infrastructures providers, because this sort of payment is localized. It's your funding is localized, your market is localized, and the support you need to really push your business comes from your country of origin, who know you, who know where you are, who know where you live, who know the type of business you're doing. So getting on board one of these platforms really helps in establishing your credibility as a business. And when you do that, then they can now vouch for you. You can have somebody else vouch for you that, no, this is a good business, it's a real business. And if you transact with them, your transaction is safe because it's guaranteed. So that, I think, is the first reason why. And then I think the second reason why it's very important to do this is how you collect your money when the transaction is done. So who do you go to when there's a problem? Is it somebody in San Francisco? Is it someone in... How do you settle the transaction when things go bad, as almost invariably things do? And how is that resolved? So I think there is a good balance between having a partner who's present with you, who's local, and who can walk you on that journey. It's a real person you can engage with. And I think that's the value which payment gateways and payment systems come in. And organizations like ours are sitting right with them, supporting you both in Nigeria and across Africa in making sure that you get your transactions through.
Thank you. I think, Demola, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, just to add to that, I think I mentioned before about regulation from central bank. If you use a non-Nigerian payment system, which is fine, the central bank can do nothing for you if something goes wrong. Cannot do anything for you. We are regulated. If something happens, we know. Even if we pass your transaction, say, from Nigeria to Kenya over brij or any other partner, you will come to us until the matter is resolved. You are talking to us. So if you use any of the non-Nigerian regulated payment system, if everything is going fine, you are okay. If it goes wrong, you have no recourse. Just like if you bank outside Nigeria, central bank will not do anything if the bank has issues. So I just wanted to say there's a reason why you need to consider that very, very well. And as a business, having your support partners, having your recourse to your service providers, that you know that there's a last man standing behind you, i.e. central bank, to bring everybody to order, is very, very important. So that is why, as good as it may seem, as fantastic as it may sound, payments are regulated by every country. If you process with other non-Nigerian people, you are regulated by the rules of their own country. And if you have any issues, you either go there or you're sending emails from here. Nobody in Nigeria can do anything about it. Thanks.
So that's the Instagram versus the local.
Yes.
Okay. Dan?
Just this question you asked. So as I've said a few times, we're very big on the customer's experience. And one of the things that we do very regularly is engage merchants and customers to understand what is working for them and what is not. one of the key things that keeps coming up, actually two things. One is customer experience, right? The fact that people will say, oh, with Paga, you will get your money. They will help you, they will find it, whether it's with the bank, XYZ, you'll get the money. It's great to hear that. We put a lot of work and effort into that. But the second thing, which is another reason why you should be trusting payment platforms, is the cost of actually doing business. For the exhibitors that are here today, yes, they're going to earn as they sell, but there has been a significant cost upfront to, even if it's just the logistics of coming here, right? Of paying the vendors and not coming here. What we find with businesses on the Doroki platform, as an example, is this: as you earn, you have those funds that you can turn around to do other things, right? Whether it's paying your light bill, you're paying for DSTV in the shop so that people can see, or you're paying certain logistics vendors. The money is coming in, and you're able to use the money with teller systems. You can say, okay, I have 5 people who work with me. I can put this money in a sub-teller account for you to manage. Segmented security like that. That's one other thing. But the fact that you're able to take those funds and run your business with them, because on the other side of collecting payments as a business, we have the services, and other platforms have these services that help you make payments, that help you keep running your business, whether it's diesel or electricity or water, whatever it is, utilities, right? Airtime, data. So imagine having to collect the cash. Imagine having to first go to the bank, get someone to go to the bank. That's loss of time, effort, potential fraud. All those negative effects are avoided when you have a secure system that helps you collect the money, helps you segment and reconcile the funds, and then helps you actually pay out to keep your business running. So I just wanted to add that as a layer of why structured, trusted payment gateways and payment systems are critical.
Thank you. I have 10 more minutes. I've got the timer here. You started late, and these gentlemen have flown in from different parts. So we'll let them finish what they've come to present. We have time for one last question.
Okay, just for clarity's sake, Dan, I wanted to confirm, at the basic level, I get some customers who buy my bags from other countries aside Africa. How can you help me? If I do not have an international number where they can pay directly in their DOM currency into my account, I can't use my Nigeria DOM and give them. I can't use my Naira account and give them. And I'm sure there are a couple of us like that. So we don't know how these things work. So how can we tell them? Because they always tell me, how do you handle your payments? So how at that level can you help me? What do I tell them? Do you have, like, on your platform, do you create accounts for these merchants like us? Do you say, okay, just supply your Naira account there, we would get their DOM, we would give your rate in Naira or in DOM for them to pay, and then we'll do the conversion for you? And then aside that, can you also help us with host names? Like, can I have something like doroki.com/my business name on my Instagram page? Do you have something like that where you can publicize, you can showcase our product on your website, and then you can do a little ad for us on each of these products? Do you have something like that? So if I have also, that's like the third part of my question. If I also have people working for me, how do you handle payment confirmation? So someone calls me and say, Uche, your customer just paid $20 for this bag. I don't know anything. I don't know when $20 will hit my account, if it's going to hit in Naira. I don't know how to confirm my payment. So how can I handle my payment confirmation? Because I have other platforms, when they pay in Naira, on my app, immediately I get it, even before I check my bank alert or anything. So how can you handle payment alerts for us? And also rate conversions too. So if my bag was selling for $20, and $20 last week could be like 12K, 15K, but now it has depreciated to 12 or 10K. So is there a way, are you going to put like a markup on those rate values so that when you're transferring the money to me, I can still get my 15K instead of 10 or 9K? I don't know how you can help us at that basic
That's an
level.
excellent practical question.
Fantastic question. I could please
you.
give her a round of applause.
Yes.
Amazing, real
Very
practical question.
Thank you.
So for the first one, I'd like to say that on our platform, we have dynamic rate conversions, and our transactions are settled in real time. So the rates are always real time. It's never 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks later. It's always as and when on the spot transactions are real time. So whenever you onboard either directly through us or one of our partners, you will always have real time transaction rates. Second, your transactions can be settled in Naira. So if you provide your details, you onboard either through us or one of our direct partners, and your transactions will be settled to you. So we'll bring your market to you. You don't have to, the amount of work you have to do to cross the bridge, and that's why we call it bridge. Remove the friction. All the things you are describing are what we call friction. It's what makes it difficult to transact internationally. And our job is to remove that, take that work from you, and make sure that somebody who is paying you in whichever currency they're paying you in can address you. And we have multiple partners today in Nigeria, as well as directly, who can help you cross that bridge. So I'm happy to see you immediately after this. But you could go to bridge.money, brij.money. Or we can, I think in the coming weeks, you'll hear lots of announcements from our partners in Nigeria who would support that.
Thank you. Dan and Demola, do you have something to?
Yes, I'll just build on the point. So currently with Doroki, we're focusing on local payments. So when I say local payments, within Nigeria, right? But to the questions you asked, any payment that you receive, again, is real time. So you will receive an alert on the app. The great thing we've done is because some stores are one man, one woman, and some you have people that work with you, you're able to segment who sees what, who manages which sub-account. And so you're able to get those alerts immediately, right? That's the first thing. In terms of the domain name, I believe it is a doroki.com / I think it's / commerce, then your name. No, doroki.com / your name, or the business name, right? That's what it is. And then you mentioned publicity, right? We do support businesses. As I was saying earlier on, we currently have a package or a campaign running, right? Where we're supporting different businesses, select businesses. So not every single one that comes on, but select businesses in putting the word out there. As an example, physically, we've actually paid for space here. We have some leather good businesses that are currently selling outside, right? That are part of the Doroki merchants. So it'll be real time, segmented, security. You can get the alert so you know when money has come in. Even if you're at home and somebody's at your store selling, right? They don't need your phone or the app on yours. They can access it, and they have the access that gets them to see only what they need to see, right? You have the master account, right, as the business owner, and then we support with publicity.
Thank you. And Demola?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, thanks for that. I think the practical questions. Part of what we've said before is that there are options. So what we do on remitter.net for you is, as a merchant, you can accept payments internationally. But again, like Ehi said, the rates are fixed on that day. So they will not be at 605, because we should not live here thinking that $20 will be 1,000 or 12,000 for you. The bank international rates are normally lower. Just like when you get to a PTA, you don't buy at 605, you buy at 420. So likewise, I'm just trying to make it clear. So it's not a remitter that will decide it, is the cards or payment systems. But what the payment gateways will give you, which remitter does, I know Paga does it, every transaction has a unique reference. You will know. So who paid you, what they paid for, when they paid you, how they paid art. And let me just be again absolutely, when you do international payments, the money doesn't come immediately, but you will know immediately. The truth is that, just like Ehi said, you have to carry Ghana, must go to somewhere. That money doesn't leave an account in US and just land in Nigeria. It doesn't. I mean, don't let us live here lying to anyone. But you should know when it is paid. So you will know instantly. But the money may come into your account. Then again, under the rules in Nigeria today, if you use a card, for example, the central bank says they must settle you T+1, which means today plus 1 day. In most international card payment, it's about 5 days. I'm just being absolutely honest. But that is why people will offer you bridging loans and all of those things. So yes, the payment gateways, just go there. You can go to remitter.net, sign up as a merchant. You can collect money from anywhere. You will see everything, how they are paying you, what is happening. And it doesn't matter which country they are in, they can pay you. You receive your money. You have the option of getting your money in Naira or in dollars. Again, if you want to get your money in dollar to dollar, it doesn't happen instantly in many cases. Yeah. The reason is that the Nigerian banking system, if you've tried to move money from your DOM account in Zenith to GT Bank, currently in Nigeria today, it first goes to New York and come down. That is why we are trying to pull this bridge in Africa for us. If you transfer today from your GT Bank DOM account to Zenith Bank DOM, it goes to New York first before it comes down. That's the whole point of this African systems we're talking about.
Thank you.
So,
and on that point, that's the friction that these companies are removing. And I would just wrap it up by saying you can't afford not to have a properly functioning system that enables you to make payments and receive payments. You don't want to lose a trade. You don't want to lose a customer. You want to be able to manage your business well. You want to be able to understand your business well. You want to be able to pay your suppliers on time so that you can make the products and meet the demands from your customers. At the end of the day, you do not want to lose a sale. So thank you for being here, and please a round of applause for our panelists. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.